You
created
don't
my
need
own
Twitter.
little mini Twitter on Google
Yeah.
Drive. Yeah,
And it's just you.
yeah,
So tell
yeah.
us, what's all that about, Andy?
Well, I've always quite liked Ben Davis actually, and he was always getting a bad deal behind Danny Rose under Pochettino, and I thought he did really well. But over the last I don't know, probably most of this season, really, he started to look like he's in decline. I'm not sure whether he is in decline, but he certainly seems like it, and he seems slower, um, losing confidence. But then I think generally our back four is all over the place anyway, so it just may be the
I don't think
perception I
Ben
have.
Davis, like I'm with you. I don't mind Ben Davis, but I think what Danny Rose showed and what Region has showed is that he's not a modern fullback.
No,
Like he
he's
doesn't
not a
have.
wing back, that's for sure.
No, it's definitely not a wing back.
Yeah,
Doesn't have. It doesn't have the skill set to play in the modern game. I don't think. Like I think he could probably play in a back three, but again, we come back to the
yeah.
sort of is that really what we want to play? Do we think that's a formation? And we don't really know that at the moment. But I just think it's magnified again when people like Danny Rose, who at his best was probably the best fullback, left back in Europe for a year, 2-year period.
Yeah.
Region looks like he's got everything to be that in that same sort of bracket. Are we missing?
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do.
Yeah, I think Davies is definitely the old school sort of 1980s, 1990s sort of left back where they're dependable, they do a solid job, they don't do anything, that stands out during a game, but they're just solid. To quote the age-old sort of adage there. So solid does a good job.
What that well-known adage? Solid does a good job.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And
I know that one. Yeah,
and also that other one where buy cheap, you buy twice. Anyway.
But that actually was quite good. Now you could tell that one come from your old man, not from you. That was a good one.
My dad's used that one before.
Yeah, that's a proper old school. My dad's 66 now, so that's a proper old school saying that I've heard for a long time. So next on the agenda, stats your lot.
Oh yeah.
With Andy.
Yeah, oh God, I've got to stick it. There we go. Yeah, so on Thursday we're playing RZ Pellets Whack, which is that
a fishing bait?
Sorry,
is that a fishing bait?
Well, it could
or dog food.
I mean, if I saw that and didn't know what it was, I would have absolutely no idea what that was. But RZ Pellets is actually an Austrian pellet company. They make pellets for fuel pellets. And I've been on their website. I've had a quick look, and they are quite interesting. In fact, I'll put the link on our Twitter feed, if you like, so people can actually go through to their website and find out more about them.
Are their pellets reasonable?
I think they are. They come in lorries, so that's got to be a good thing.
Excellent. As I say, buy cheap, you buy twice. So I'm hoping for a good recommendation here, Andy.
Yeah, well, we'll do it. That's what I say. Just do it.
Just buy some now.
Yeah. They've got a rubbish website as well. Anyway, so RZ Pellets sponsor Wolfsburger AC, and of course, when we were what's that? Sorry, it's just Steve pinging us. So Wolfsburger are in the Austrian league, and me, like maybe some other people, I thought we'd actually drawn Wolfsburg in Germany, but they're not the same team. And they are actually also called Wolfsburg to confuse matters. So anyway, they were founded in 1931. They've been around the lower divisions for a very, very long time in Austria, and they've only recently become good, probably via the pellets, whatever they do. And
they're steroids, aren't they?
They probably are, aren't they? Yeah, or Viagra or whatever. That does. And so last year, that was their first time in the Europa League. This is their second year in the Europa League. And that's really all I know about them. They were actually founded by a guy called Adolf, which...
Adolf Pellets.
Adolf Pellets. Yeah. So less said about that, the better, I think.
So where are they in the league at the moment?
I think last time I looked, they were 6th in the Austrian league. So, yeah.
Okay, so that means they're not good.
Yeah.
Which means they'll probably spank us about 3-0.
Yeah, I think they had some good results this year in the Europa League. I can't remember exactly what they were, but I think they gave some teams some trouble. So I'm sure they've got nothing to lose, have they, really?
Excellent, good stuff. And
yeah.
That is Stats You Lot.
That is Stats You Lot.
There's no jingle for this. Stats You Lot, yeah. Anyway, just moving on quickly to, just conscious of the time, to on this day, we'll leave the jingle for this week because we'll just leave it for this week. But anyway, on this day today in 2011, Spurs beat Milan away 1-0 in the Champions League, with Crouchy scoring on the 80th minute. What a great time that was to be alive, wasn't it? That Champions League run.
That was, and of course, Joe Jordan nearly had a fight with Gattuso that night.
Yeah, that was brilliant, wasn't it? He just sort of wounded him up, just sort of baited him, and Gattuso sort of lost his shit. And they were great days. Looking back now, they were fantastic days, weren't they?
They were pretty good days, yeah. Under Harry, it was never boring, was it? Really?
You know, if you said 10 years ago, while we were at the games in the pubs watching these, in 10 years we're going to be in lockdown, stuck indoors, all reliant on a vaccine, doing absolutely fuck all, talking about Spurs on Zoom, you would have said, "What's Zoom back then? You know, what's all this about?" You know, you would have laughed, wouldn't you? But you know, what can you do? Anyway, moving on really quickly to our Fans in Focus section, because Paul, we do a Fans in Focus section, and this week you are our fan in focus. And if you just sort of introduce yourself to our loyal fans. There are tens of them out there. Just introduce a bit about yourself, what you do, and
look, I'm Spurs through and through. Was born within probably 500 yards of White Hart Lane.
Nice.
In the 80s, sort of when I was 5, 6. Those European nights, I used to be able to open my bedroom window and over the houses, just like see a glow of the floodlights. And I really vividly remember some of them European nights hearing in the goal scorer for Tottenham Hotspur, number 9, Mark Falco, and all those sorts of things.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay. And then when I went to school, I had to walk past the stadium to get to school and all those sorts of things. So, yeah, look, that's why it's Spurs. And, you know, when I really started going, when I could go and enjoy it with some friends, probably just before the time you start drinking and that, it was woeful. People like Kevin Scott, and with great respect to Kevin Scott and different people like that. It was a tough old time to watch, and then went away to university, lived away for quite a period of time, moved up north, qualified as a journalist, then sort of did some bits and pieces, some freelancing, moved down to Sky, where I was a football statistician for a while, which was an interesting job, but I used to sort of collate 20, 30 page info packs for the commentators and for the guests, and things like that. Yeah, which was great. It was really good people to work with, good fun. But you know, fundamentally, I'm a journalist. I love journalism. I love interviewing. I love talking to people. And Sky brought its digital operation down to London, and I moved just across, maybe up one floor and across at Sky Towers, into journalism. Was a sub-editor for a couple of years, and then took the job that I have now, which is the multi-sport editor at Sky Sports, and it is literally anything that sort of doesn't have a channel. So all our journalistic teams work really closely with our production teams. It's a really efficient way of working. It means we get good access to good names. Multi-sport is sort of, we do tennis, even though we don't have live tennis, and netball, NFL and NBA have become huge for us over the last couple of years. So I've sort of had to, always been an NFL fan, but really had to immerse myself in it when I got the job. Netball has become a big commitment for us as well, and is a big sort of a growing sport, I think is the biggest way we can describe that. And darts is the one that I sort of probably anchor myself to more than anything, largely because it's a bit more seasonal. I manage my team, so I got other responsibilities. So doing darts, I can kind of pick up the other bits and pieces in between. But yeah, usually a little bit of everything is what I end up doing. So I was working Super Bowl night. This week we've had the start of the netball season. We had the Darts World Championships, which was brilliant. It's always a great 3 weeks. It's an intense 3 weeks, but it's brilliant. And yeah, look, I'm really lucky. I've been able to keep working through lockdown. I mean, probably working too much because you have your computer on at home. I'm sure everyone's the same.
Yeah.
When you're a journalist, you're sort of always working, and when 2 sports are going on through the night, you find yourself looking at sort of 7 o'clock in the morning or 6 a.m. when you wake up and you think, oh blimey, that happened, did it? But better get that sorted. So look, really lucky to have been able to keep working through lockdown and enjoyed and really enjoy the job that I do. I'm very, very lucky. And look, if I'm honest as well, it's allowed me to enjoy football again, because when I was sitting in the back of a truck for sort of 4, 5, 6 years, whilst it was a great job and great fun, it was it's quite intense. Sometimes the last thing you want to do, having spent 8 or 9 hours at Old Trafford on a Sunday and Spurs are playing on a Monday night, it's like, okay, right. It did become a bit of a chore sometimes. So the last 6 years now, I've been able to enjoy it again.
That's good. Yeah,
excellent.
I bet it's quite a good variation as well, isn't it?
Yeah, and look, I think that's the biggest part of it, and the bonuses for me are that we will do different sports kind of every day, and the access that we get via the sports are really, really good. Football has become a little bit sanitized. I think everyone would probably agree in terms of the interviews that we see and the stories that you read. But I'm lucky enough to be able to talk to the PDC and say, look, we'd love to get an interview with Michael Van Gerwen this week because we've not spoken to him for a while, and I know Michael from being on the circuit, and you can have a chat. Netball's the same. We've got a really good relationship with England Netball, and we can tell some really good, impactful stories. Women's sports are a big part of what we do. And NFL and NBA are just 2 sports that I've really grasped. I think I've become more and more fascinated with American sport and its access and the characters involved. So look, I'm not going to bore you anymore with it. It's good fun, and I enjoy every minute of it, to be honest.
Yeah. Excellent. So do you get to go to the States when there aren't viruses around to cover the sports? Or
primarily, we have a lead writer for both our NBA and NFL coverage. So if there are sports, they would go to Super Bowl week effectively and get an awful lot more than me. And as much as I would like to pull rank and say, I'm going to Miami this year, for our department, I know that our writer would probably do a better job than me, and I say that begrudgingly. I tend to get the glamorous jobs of the Grand Slam of darts at Wolverhampton or different things like that. But I think
a dream to me.
I think as well, like US sport is growing. We're lucky they see the UK as a huge market, and we have really good partners with the NBA Europe and with NFL UK who are wicked people to work with, and that makes my job easier, and to be able to work with people who are so happy to be part of it.
Yeah.
Excellent. It's funny what you said right at the beginning, Paul, about obviously growing up sort of 500 yards from White Hart Lane, and you mentioned the floodlights, and it's funny. It's been weird, this pod, because you've said things that I've already been thinking. And I was driving along down Garrett Lane in Earlsfield earlier. I dropped my wife to work and was just driving past the new AFC Wimbledon Stadium. And, I would always get really, really excited when I was a kid, when you would drive past the stadium and you'd see the floodlights in the distance.
Yeah, it's very exciting.
And then that glow for a nighttime game, and you'd see the floodlights beaming down and the light and...
Yeah. Goodison Park away is the best one for that. That is when you sort of turn down and you see Goodison Park sort of emerge out of the houses and the floodlights up. That's so cool.
it's just those old school sort of memories, really, that you don't really see anymore. When you walk past the new Spurs stadium, you can't